Hello and welcome back to my channel. So we're going to have a little chat about method overloading. So we spoke a little bit about this already within the math class, which is in the java.util package. So you don't need to import it because it's already part of the language. And you also have different parameters that are going to it. So when you're saying math.max, for instance, you can get the maximum of 2 integers, 2 longs, 2 floats, or 2 doubles with that. So the way you do it is the same name of the method and then different parameters with different types of it. So method overloading is distinguishable with number, type, and order of parameters. So we're just going to have a look at this example that I've done already. This is called method overload. So you can see here that the main method prints out this, and it actually calls the method square and passes in a value here, and it calls another method that's also called square and it passes in a value here. But you can see here it automatically, with the integrated development environment, the IDE already tells you double overload method overload square, double value. So, and then you can see here, if I highlight this, it shows it here. So everything in programming, it's actually a good way to think about it is that everything needs to match. So everything has to be exactly the same for the computer to recognize it. Now with method overloading, you can have, this has one parameter in it. You can have multiple parameters in different methods of the same name. So you can also have square int value and then have another float value here, as long as there is also a float value up here when you're calling it. Has to match. So the return type then is here. The return types do not distinguish the method overloading. So it's best to get an idea of, when you call a method, that it's the parameters with the 3 things: name, numbers, types, and order of parameters. And then the other thing is, with the double here, we have a double 7.5, and then for floating point values, so in this instance it's automatic, unless you specify it here, it will automatically have 6 points afterwards, unless you specify it within the placeholder here for floating point. So %f, so that will be the double, %d, integer, and it returns it here. Now we can also print out another system out printf here if you wanted to. I'm going to leave it as it is, but I will comment, it's really good practice to have comments with an int argument, and then you can copy this and just square method with double argument, and this method just tests overloading square methods, and that's it. It's pretty straightforward every time that you call a method. So for instance, I will show you here what I mean. Math dot, and then if I say max, and then with our max we have the different options that we can give. We can have 2 integers, 2 floats, 2 that's not within a method, so it won't show up. But if I say math.max, you can see here we've got 2 doubles, 2 floats, 2 ints, or 2 longs, and that's all coming from the math class, and that's a really good example to keep in your mind when you're looking at method overloading. Now the other thing to remember is that there's something to remember from the previous video is that the scope of a variable should not be visible when it's not needed. So it should have the capabilities needed to get the job done within that specific area. So it's really important to declare variables close to where they're needed or close to where they're first used possible. Normally with class level variables, you put them underneath the class and it's at the very top and it's easy to read then and then use it throughout. If you're using method ones, then obviously at the beginning of the method it's up to you, but it's good programming practice to declare variables as close to where they're first used as possible. And that's it for today. This is called, as well, just one more thing, this is called a method signature, and I mentioned it in a very early video already. This is called the method signature. So it's basically the signature, like signing, as a combination of the method's name, number, type, and order of parameters. Name, number, type, order of parameters. That's what you have to remember with method overloading, and it's pretty straightforward. It's just the same name. Here's the return type, which is an int. You have a return keyword here. This is double. You have a return double here. You can also have different return types, but that's another thing to talk about another time. And that's it for today. So thanks for watching. If you have any feedback, send it to learncomputerswithali@gmail.com, and I'll post up another video soon. Okay, thanks for watching.